welcome, welcome. So let's start today, as our teacher says, today is a good day because we will be in contact with the Dhamma and get to understand better, and hopefully it all translates into tools to cultivate happiness and well-being for ourselves and our families. So we pay homage to our teachers and our teacher's teacher. We start with Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. We will recite the qualities of the Buddha, his teaching, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, the community of monks who has taken care of the teaching for 2,600 years. Itipiso Bhagava Araham Sama Sambuddho Vichacharana Sampano Sukato Lokavidum Anutaro Purisa Dhammasarati Satta Devamanusanam Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Samvitiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Panaviko Pachatam Vadita Bhumi Giti Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Nirupatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Samichipatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Yadidam Chatari Purisa Yugami Ata Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Datineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anutaram Punyaketam Lukasati Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Respect the same.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So today we are going to continue with a little part of objects, and then we will go to Wotu basics. Up till now, we have been looking at objects, like the objects for the five senses. That's very clear, easy to understand. And then we also saw Dhamma objects, 6 kinds. The things that can only be known by the mind, cannot be known by the five senses. And we also saw the objects for those chittas that are independent of doors, not independent of the five sense doors, and also independent of mind door. Yes, those chittas which are that perform the functions of rebirth, bhavanga, patisandhi, bhavanga, and chuti, no? And death consciousness. No? So until here, everything is clear. You have some questions or
Clear?
everything is okay?
We will see. We will see.
Yeah, so we will be repeating sometimes some things because from now on, actually since chapter 3, it will be necessary that we start remembering things from previous chapters because those are the ingredients that we are going to put together. So we'll have to be using some information that we have already go through before. So today, in this case, we will start with the last part of Aramana, which we just talked about, the 5
Aramana meaning objects of mind. Whatever the mind can take through the senses or through the mind itself.
objects. Like every chitta must have an object.
The support for the units of consciousness, chittas, to arise. It must have something to
hold on to.
hold on or to chew.
Objects. So, what do you? Okay, just before we start here, the other day we were having class with Theodore, and so he was asking about everybody, and as we sent you the message, and he said, in the class, do you use Pali or use English words? He said.
He was
I said-
very
I said-
interested.
He said, do you always use English words or sometimes Pali also? Yes, I know, Pali also.
We use
yes.
Pali, and he was like,
Oh, very good, very good.
he was very good, very good, very good, very good.
Yeah,
Because he knows the benefit at the long run. When you have the meaning, you already internalize the meaning of the word, not all the translation. So it's really good.
Yes, because as we already saw so many times, the translation doesn't make justice to the original Pali word. And also those Pali words, they have their specific meanings, and you will see them in different contexts again and again and again. So every time we saw those Pali words, if we know what it means, then it helps a lot to understand the whole context. So it is helpful to, you don't have to try to memorize it or like that, but anyway, it comes up so many times, so if we use it a lot, then we will already remember. And so Aramana, then you know the Aramana is object, no? So many times if we repeat, then we will, naturally the mind will remember. Yeah.
A benefit also from knowing Pali is that, for example, when you listen a master that is giving us teaching, even in Burmese, when we were in Bodh Gaya, they were giving teachings in Tibetan, but because they also use Sanskrit and Pali is very close, even without knowing what they were saying, Burmese masters, Thai masters, just by sitting there, you catch a few of the words and you clearly know where he's going and what is he explaining.
At
because
least about
all
what
the teachers are giving the Pali word, so then you see, oh, it's really useful. Otherwise, you're just, imagine a master giving a universal teaching and you're like, so it's good to connect with that. Yeah. We like that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go with Aramana objects. So we have 5 senses, the 5 kinds of objects, which we already saw that they are material properties, and then we have the mental objects, which includes sensitive matters, pasada rupa, those are eye sensitivity, nose sensitivity, ear, tongue, and body sensitivity. And then we have 16 subtle matters, which we will look into details in chapter 6 about the matters. Those that are not gross, no? So that's why they can only be known by the mind. Yeah? And then chittas itself, cetasika itself, then the mind can know what kind of mind. Like if there was a dosa mind, there was a greedy mind, the mind can know other minds. No? So chittas and cetasikas, and nibbana can also only be known by the mind, and also concepts. So this one we already saw last week. Yes, so these are the objects. And we also saw last week the objects of the door free chittas, the 19 kinds of resultant consciousness, vipaka chitta, which is those objects that manifest themselves to the mind in the near-death process. It could be karma, something that related to some actions, volition action that they have done, or karma nimitta, something that has some kind of instrument or something related to that karma, that action, or gati nimitta, which is destination. Gati is a destination. So as the sign of where the person is going to be reborn.
Yeah, before a person, you were not here now, Marcus, last week. We saw just briefly, before we are in the death process, in the last, in the death process, before dying, we sometimes can remember something we did, good or bad, or something related to that action, and that is what's going to give the quality and the connection to the next life. Or something amazing is that actually we can see the place we are going to born in the next one. It's very close, so you can actually see. And today we're gonna have the story, no?
Yes.
Today we have a very good
Hola,
story. Good morning.
So just briefly to remember what kind of chittas takes what kind of objects. So in the last moment, last process, which is called the near-death process, is Chuti Chitta is the last chitta of a lifetime, no? Of the death chitta. And so just before that, then in that mental process, those javanas, that they will take one of these kind of objects. And these objects actually is not that they are the person is dying, but he's not actually doing something at that time because he's already dying, so it's very weak. But because of the karma that he has done in that lifetime, most of the time in that lifetime, so those karma is so strong that it presents an object to the mind at that time. So it could present the in this case a good action. Say she was a nurse before and then she was helping the boy, and so that good action, the good intention of helping, that it presents this object to the mind, and this Jamana takes this as an object, and maybe she's happy about what she has done, no?
It will be automatically because the mind is so weak that it's about to die. So that thing, my dear family, it's whatever we practice the most. If we did wrong in life more, it will come wrong.
But
If
we
we did
practice
good,
the most.
but you cannot do, okay, let me die. We cannot. The mind is already kind of falling apart. So that thing depends on our practice in life. That's why teachers continually say, do good in your life. So in the automatic moment of chuti, the push of your previous actions will automatically give you hopefully good for a good destination.
So let's
So
say
this is out of our control.
if
We
that woman
cannot
was a nurse
consciously.
and do good, but at the same time what she did bad was much more.
It's,
It could
That's
present,
what
yes.
can appear. in
there are
this
more
sentence.
possibilities for the bad to come in, but anyone can come.
Yes.
And let's say a sicario here, maybe at the end he remembered when he was loving to his child, and then he reborn somewhere else in a good destination. So you never know. Or a good person can remember something bad, and then even if he or she did a lot of good, well, that happens. That's why teachers say give more. It's a matter of possibility. The more white or the more black, it will win.
In chapter 5 about karma, we will look at all those possibilities and which one
Very
will come
interesting.
first.
Very interesting.
What karma will come first? Definitely will come first. All those ones that might come second. If this does not exist, then the next one will. If this does not exist, the next one will happen like that. No. So the order also. What
Yeah.
kind of karma can appear in this moment? In chapter 5, we will look at it. So the point here, as Bante said, it is important that, say for example, if the person has been doing good or a lot of good in his life, then it's more possibility that the good will present, some kind of good will present to itself. If the person was an angry person and did bad all his life is very
Unlikely.
not probable,
Unlikely.
that something good will arise in those moments. So it is important, although this is the last death, near-death process is the last one that gives the result to the next
For the
one.
next one.
This is very important, but what is more important is what we have done through our life, because if through our life we have done a lot of good, here will be more possible. If we have done a lot of bad, then very
More
unlikely good
possibilities.
will happen here.
Unless we
not
have
only depend on this, depend on
Unless we have some heavy karma, which we will see in chapter 5. It's definitely you have a bought ticket. If you kill a mother or father, definitely you go down.
Yeah, whatever good you
There are
have
four
done,
more things. So it is when you do
cannot
something
help.
really bad or really good, you have you pay ticket. Even you die, whatever you die with,
unless
you go
he
after
is
that.
fully enlightened.
But we
then
will
no
see
more.
chapter 5. No se pierdan el próximo capítulo a la misma
Yeah.
hora.
Yes.
Yes.
Since some of the past programs, I have the question of who is the judge, because in the Jewish Christian tradition, you cannot be your own judge. It is not only your life by itself that you decide if you did well or you did bad. It has to be someone else, in this case it's God, that decides if you really did good or really did bad, because you many times do not know your own intentions, and you are not really aware that you did so many good things or bad things,
Yes.
because you don't know the consequences of many of your acts. So who's the judge finally?
Karma.
Nature.
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 Karma.
What
It
an
is-
answer.
It's just nature. Fire is hot, water is cool. Period. So we don't need someone to judge the intention, because the intention was the seed. So if you plant a hot thing, it is hot. You
Chili,
need you
if
need
plant
chili.
chili
Chili is
will come
hot
out.
even if we soak
Even
it.
if I think it was honey,
No,
and
no.
oh, this is a honey
is
seed.
chili.
I plant honey, and then no, the chili came out.
My intention was
Nature.
good, my intention was
Yeah,
not
yeah.
funny.
Nature does the job, and it's just cause and effect. Needs no one at all to be judging anything. There is no actually, apparently, there is no judge. Nature is just it's hot, it's hot. It's cool, it's cool. What to do?
Yeah. What I was saying about the honey is the thing is like if I'm holding a chili seed, let's say, and this is a bad action, let's say, no? When I'm planting the bad action, but I think it is good. What I'm doing is good. So, but this is my illusion or delusion that I think it is good. It can be not, but actually, I think this is honey. But actually, what I'm planting is chili. So the result will come chili, will not come honey. Although I think it is honey
give the
because
chili
that
to a
is
baby?
nature. Because
Yes.
that's nature.
And
no?
whenever the fruit
So,
comes, it will be
whatever-
as the seed.
Mhm.
Without asking
As the
no one,
seed.
nature will do its job. It's just doing its job.
Yes. Yes. So.
Even from
Is that-
Catholicism,
Point
I
of-
think there is part of the Bible that mentions it, and Jesus was saying that you won't get wheat if you planted corn,
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yes.
right? Like,
It is true too.
Yes, yeah, that's
Yes,
it. That's it.
exactly the
Exactly,
same.
that is
Yes.
true.
yeah.
Yes.
So our actions are seeds. Whatever quality was planted with, even if we pray, do dance, saumearlo, whatever, it will not change.
Yes.
It will give. Apple gives apple.
Uh-huh.
Period.
Aunque lo sabía, mucho
Even saumeadito y danzado, medio nada.
Cannot be changed.
Let me plant a
Actually-
seed mango, si me have banana. Impossible.
Mango. Sorry. I'm
Mango.
sorry.
Mango.
Yes. Sometimes the teachers also say karma is our creator.
Okay.
Karma,
is our creator. Our own
Our
actions
actions.
is
Our own creator.
yeah,
Our
our
own
creation,
actions is our creator.
We are the
That's
creator.
true.
Our own creator.
our own actions are our
our
creator,
creator.
create
Our
us.
actions,
And we are heirs, herederos of our own actions. What we get is what we sow in the past.
Always.
So responsibilities on our actions.
Yes. Okay. So shall we continue?
Yes.
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
It is also possible that unwholesome memory is presented,
Mhm.
but maybe the javanas, there's like sati in javanas, like a wholesome process, but an unwholesome memory.
In this process, very difficult
Yeah.
because
difficult.
in these moments it's very weak. The mind.
It's so
You
weak
see only
There
five
are only 5
will
javanas,
arise.
not 7.
So
It is that.
yeah. So if it is presented like that, most probably it's going there. If something good, if it was with sati with everything, then good one will be presented in the last moment. Or let's say for example, it is also possible. Say for example, in the previous moment, not the last one, previous moment, some bad akusala was presented, but because of sati or because of wisdom, then he take those objects, but he react in a good reaction. So in this place, he will not take that object anymore. It will be another object that he will take. So
Or
we
you might
change
take
the
that
object.
one, previous, just immediate, that action. I mean,
Yeah.
a previous action can be possible. But technically, what you're saying, to have a bad memory, unpleasant
At
memory
this
with
moment-
wisdom on top, yes, it's technically possible. And that's what, for example, Arahants experience. They cannot plan bad anymore, and they still may remember something unpleasant or that they have done or experienced, but the mind is already on wisdom, can know it without any reaction.
Yes, but probably not in the last process.
But here's too weak. This is gonna be kind of automatic. This is now is like good luck, my friend. Whatever you did more, you will get. So this is very important in our lifetime to be careful.
Even
Yeah,
if
story
the-
is coming. It has to
Even
something
if
to
the
do
body
with it.
is in a deep state of sedation or unconscious because of medicine.
Eh,
Still, it will
that
We
happen.
say unconscious.
Still
If the
happen.
mind's still
Yes.
working, if the
Yeah.
body
Still
hasn't died, if the
something
person
that-
hasn't died, the consciousness is rolling even in bhavanga, whatever.
Must pass
He will
through
do
this in order
something.
to
He
die.
will do something. The person cannot express anything, but we don't know that a person in coma is not listening, for example.
Yeah.
And often it has shown the case. So the consciousness, as long as it's connected to the body,
Mhm.
is still doing
It's
something.
still doing
Yeah.
Yes.
And body does not rule mind. Body, I mean,
Mhm.
our mind, even if we are cut in the middle, our mind can work exactly the same or even better. Or even better if we cultivate it, I mean. So body is just what is holding the support for the mind to be happening. So actually they are different.
Yes.
Is Chuti connected with the clinical death?
Yes, I think we will see at that moment when it is really separated.
So
It's not the mind, the consciousness is not anymore on that body,
in,
somewhere else.
in chapter 6, actually, when we study material quality, then we will also see what happens when the person dies, what happened with the material quality, no? Now, what I don't understand what means by clinical death, so I cannot say if it is the same. But
When the doctor says
thing
he's dead.
yes, but I don't know how the doctor said that he's dead or not. So because I'm not a doctor, I need to study more what it means by clinical death, and in order to see if it is the same. What I can tell you is that Shruti here, in the material quality is being produced by 4 kinds of reasons, no? 4 causes, like Bante already mentioned before. One is karma itself, another one is nutriment, like because if we don't eat, then we will die also, no? So some kind of material quality of the body is produced by nutriment.
Food.
By food, by nutrition essence of the food, yes? And another one is by weather. Like the weather must be okay, you know, because if it is too cold, then we cannot survive. Too hot, also we cannot survive. So weather must be, temperature must be suitable. So temperature also produce some kinds of material quality, nutritious acids produce some kind of material quality, and karma, they produce some kind of material quality, and the mind itself, like let's say for example, when we are very angry, become so hot here and become red here, no? So those kind of material quality also produced by mind, so 4 types, no? So in this moment, what happens is that karma produce material quality no more, because karma is gone here, already finished until this lifetime. So, and mind produce matter also no more, because this also finished, no? And another mind, that these minds produce other material quality. Other material quality in the next life already, so it's not this life. So what is left is nutrition essence, the material quality being produced by nutrition essence and temperature, no? So that's why it gets cold slowly, it does not get cold immediately, no? So those material qualities still there until they passed away, until all those material quality passed away. And next week, maybe next or next, we will see how the lifespan of material quality. So until all those material quality passed away, then they're totally dead.
Totally dead.
Like,
but that's the body.
Yeah.
So actually the mind dies first and the body follows immediately. That's why the mind is not there anymore and the body you can still see it there, and the guy still warm, and then the temperature matter will start slowly decaying, and then also the matter will start slowly decomposing, decaying and smelling and all that.
And no more new material qualities being produced.
No more new to
anymore.
keep the body alive. So there is no more input from karma, because the karma is already in another being somewhere else, and he left. We live, dejamos un tiradero pues in the previous life. We leave something there. I'll see you later, you clean it, ne? And then we go, and we are alive already a baby, or not a baby, but a fetus somewhere else, and somebody's cleaning out our mess because we just left there. So the matter decays, so the mind is going quicker. Should I give the example of the giant and the dwarf?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet.
You must wait for that. Okay, next week. But you will see that's very nice.
Chapter
because
because we are going to
4.
see the lifespan of mind and lifespan of
Matter.
The matter lasts a little bit longer than the mind, according to the
Matter.
We will see in chapter 4. So
Matter is always slower than mind. Matter is always slow, moves like this, and mind is like a squirrel, and the body moves like this. It dies in the same way. The mind, like, okay, dead, finish. I'm on the other way, and the body still.
I think even I read it somewhere. I'm not sure if it's true, but if a person is dead, still there are processes in the body like the hair is still
nails
growing.
still growing, and the hair.
Could be.
You could see a dead person next day have beard. So the body is doing its thing. But no mind.
Those
No mind.
matter is being produced surely either by nutriment or by temperature, not by mind or by karma anymore, because that is gone. Yes.
Ah.
I would like to remind what happens with people that kills themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What is the immediate consequence?
Got
What it means exactly? What is going on?
They are four realms beyond
How
us, no?
far they go?
Really far to the bottom one. If you die, I mean, we are number 5, no? Humans
Yes.
are 5, and there are two kinds of hungry beings, never
Asuras
satisfied, Asura and Peta,
Peta.
and then we have animals, and then we have the bottom one, which is called hell, kind of a
Hell
hell being, because it's only suffering. The mind is torture, and their physical qualities are tortured constantly because of the quality they left. Okay, so if we die with desire or attachment, we come to these two, to the wandering beings. If we die with ignorance, at that moment the last one was like what we go to animal. That's why an animal cannot know himself. But animals amazingly share our same frequency of matter. We can see them, we can interact them, and even love them or hate them, whatever. And then if a person dies with dosa, with anger, sadness, and aversion, which is the only one who can kill, goes to the bottom one, because it's in between emotions, we can call them, it's the heaviest one. So when a person kills himself in suicide, he's actually, there is no one who suicides because he's too happy.
No, yes.
So he's really definitely having a lot of aversion, and the last action he does is kill someone. So it was a fundamental in dosa. Definitely a person who suicides goes to the very bottom for a long time.
What is this?
Actually,
What is this?
Suicide.
No, the bottom.
It
The bottom.
is a realm,
It's a
another
realm.
state, like human realm, like how
Mhm.
we are living, or animal realm, how they live, and there is another types of beings that live in a realm that has a lot of suffering.
It's just anger,
It's just
anger,
another being,
anger.
another type of beings.
Ah, that's why it's
Here,
like hell.
yes, it's like
hell,
they
something
call it like a hell,
how
not
we-
the hell
how we
of.
imagine.
They call it hell because it is a place of only suffering. Here as humans we have a great menu. We can be happy, loving, generous, and also angry. So we know that thing. That's why a Buddha comes to this realm, because these guys are ready. Because they know suffering and they know happiness. They know how to transfer all the suffering energy to happiness. That's why we can be liberated. In the bottom, the Buddha never goes to teach them because they only experience suffering. They left with dosa, with anger. They live with dosa because their frequency is only happening in dosa, suffering. So they have very little possibility to understand good well-being. So they stay for very long, unfortunately. That's why when we
Very
share,
long, but they can live
Very-
like this.
they live. Ah, because when they die, because they also have a lifespan. Humans, we have now a 75, 80 years old lifespan. And naturally, even if we want to go before or don't want to go, naturally the body says, okay, your time is done, finished, boom. So that beings also have a we will see in chapter 6, all these questions will be answered. They have a very long, unfortunately very long lifespans, thousands of years maybe, and they cannot come out only when we at the end, you remember when I say, sometimes we chant, Amia, Yuro, Muchabaguro, Sadhu. You remember that we chant that thing? And often we say, may the beings who suffer more than us, meaning the 4 under us, because another human being suffer more than us, but he's already a human being. He already is in a very good situation. So we are referring to these beings. So how do they come out?
What else did you say? May the humans
May,
that suffer more
May-
than
may
us
the
be
beings-
liberated?
May the beings that suffer more than us be liberated,
Yeah,
which is
yes.
the 4,
Oh,
which
okay.
is these 4. So if that being, for some reason, apparently they also share these
They cannot accept until
well-
only Peta can accept.
sorry. Yeah, when we share two, sorry, I again. That one will stay until that, and
Or
then Peta.
until his karma exhausted, no? Because of some kind of action they are there.
Okay, pagaron
And-
su cuota.
Yeah,
Kind
you
of
pay
like that.
the
So
thing
if
because
the
of
karma
life.
is
Okay.
exhausted for that lifetime. As a human also, we're born as a human, but if the karma, good karma of being a human exhausted, then also we die.
Mm.
No? So not all the people live the whole lifespan, no? And also the Buddha explained how we die in what kind of reasons or what exhausted so that we die. But okay, let's
In chapter
yes,
6.
chapter 5.
Chapter 5.
Let's not go
Chapter
there
six.
now
Okay.
because otherwise we
Yeah,
won't
yeah.
arrive to chapter 5
Yeah,
never.
chapter
Okay.
that thing. When you share the merits and the person it becomes happy about your sharing in the goodness that you did. That's why we can do that for dead people. They can be freed by our own will because they generate goodness because of the goodness they see. They cannot generate by themselves. That's why they stay for so long in the other ones. But PETA, if they fuse with it, we can help them to liberate. Mostly to the people that is hanging around. Sometimes they don't even know that they died. So they are still hanging around the same house or something. So we can help them in that way. And yes, thank you. It is just for the lower two.
Okay,
The other ones are...
One more thing, before we continue. Now what Bante said that how we die with dosa or with moha or with lova goes to which realm, this is in general, no? It's a general idea because karma has so much variations we never know. Some people die with lova and go to the most bottom, depends on what kind of lova. And I mean only the Buddha knows how the person, what kind of karma he died and what kind of objects
where
he
he
take,
came
where
from, where is he
came from, where
going.
he's going. So it's not exactly, but it is like more or less a general idea. So don't think that it must be like that. No, sometimes
Okay.
it can change.
Only
That-
Garuda
that
Kama.
seemed that wouldn't be.
Wait for the
That
5th
seems
chapter,
like-
you will see a lot.
Okay.
It seemed to
Yes.
me not be fair.
Yeah.
If you're like angry
Yes.
at your last moments and you go back
It
down.
depends on what kind of anger
Yeah.
also, no? If
You
you like,
see-
I said, little anger or something that it
okay.
can
You
be.
ask fairness to nature,
It's
she-
most fair.
you ask fairness to nature, and she will keep quiet.
Yes.
Nature is not fair. Nature is cause and effect. It doesn't care
But
if
I
it's
think
fair or
also-
unfair. We says sometimes we say
No.
why people born with hunger or so young and he was killed or something.
No, I said Bante,
Na-
I said
nature-
nature is most fair because depending on what you do,
No,
where you go.
But in the sense,
Yeah,
it's
in
cause
the
and
sense.
effect. In the sense of cause and effect, yes.
No.
But in terms of fairness, is it fair or not fair? Like how come I live so well and at the end I did bad, then I go down? How unfair? There is no one to no complain box.
We don't see the
It's
fairness
just
because we just see like a little span of
Yes,
what that
but in the long,
in
in the
term-
whole thing, it is fair.
Yeah.
Because it depends
Yes,
what
it's
one
really
does,
fair.
what happens, no? So like let's say little anger is not fair to go to the most down. Let's say for
Okay.
example if he remembers something that he got angry because of one little thing, no? So it's not of
Yeah,
course
yes.
because it's such a small anger it's not
He would not.
he
go
wouldn't not
down
go
at
to
bottom.
the bottom, that he might go into another unfortunate state, but maybe not until there. So, but anyway, there are too much variations, too much actions that we can done good or bad, so we cannot tell. Only the Buddha can know. So we better go on.
Yes. But just to remind lastly, to born human, we must have died
With a
with
good
love or generosity.
kusala. It must be a
Kusala.
kusala.
So
result of
even
kusala.
the worst human being, before death in the previous one, he felt love or he was generous. So just to make the distinction, all of us, we can be happy that last life we die with love. Minimum with love and generosity. So we can make the distinction. Even a little bit of dosa cannot fit with this. It won't give human. I don't know where it's gonna go on the
So,
realm, but if you die with akusala, it's
Go
going down.
surely, yes.
It's going down. I don't know in which one and in how intense. Because we can
Yes.
see also there are animals who live better than many humans. These animals have food, sure, and they have beds and cushions. So it depends. Sometimes they had they had very bad karma to born as animal, but very good karma to born a posh pet. How to say, a fancy pet. And there are human beings who had very good karma to become a human being with a great potential, but born in hunger and in a very low environment, or bad karma to born an animal in a very fancy house
They feed you every
and
day.
with full of love and things. So you see, it's very common.
Yes.
Very
Also, just as in
So you die.
human-
Sorry, you die a little angry. You go down as an animal, but very lush.
Oh,
Like,
just as no, actually, those good conditions also because of the good actions that they have done.
Yes, yes. Of course, based on the good
So-
actions.
So it's like
But
just
that-
like in the human world, there are countries that people live very well. There are countries that people live not so well.
Yes.
In the other realms, also there are regions. There are places, different regions.
There are devas that are poor.
Or there are some beings that live a little bit less suffering or a little bit more suffering. No, but here the main point also what Bante said is to be born in the in the good destination, in Pali it's called sugati.
Sukha.
Su like sukha.
There's
Yes,
happiness.
gati nimitta, no? Gati destination,
Destination.
good destination, sugati. To be born in sugati means human above. So that must be a
As.
result of kusala, whatever it may be. In to be born in dukati, like dukkha, dukati, the bad destination, which means the four lower realms, then any of those akusala actions will give result of reborning in dukati,
Okay.
bad destination. Yes? Okay,
Suicide
so
definitely.
let's continue. Yes? Okay, so now, just as a reminder, so whatever objects, it could not the three of them all together, at the same time, any one of these, kama nimitta or gati nimitta, any of these. So when the mind, these javanas took these objects, then Shuddhi will arise, and then Patisandhi and Bhavanga of the next life will start, yes? So these ones takes the same object as what the javanas in the last process take. So also
Any
the
of
Patisandhi and Bhavanga also will take any of these objects, the same object as this place.
So we will
So
be
let's
visiting
go a little
lot that
like
object
go a
in
little
our
bit
life.
backwards. Although we don't know this object, actually the mind is taking this object a lot this time.
Billions
of
of
our
times
last
right
life.
per second right
Our
now.
last life, yeah.
He's taking that object again.
So here in the past life, just we saw already, okay. Then now in this present life of this person, his Patisandhi Bhavanga is taking this object from the previous life, and Shruti in the last moment of his life also is the same object. Also, when they will take the same object, yes.
Exactly
now-
the same object.
Exactly the same.
Even if in that
What
life has
same?
nothing to do with another.
Nothing to do. Well, it does have something to do because it produces
yes,
that life.
but
Yeah?
in that life,
Yes.
he was a farmer.
Yes,
or
nothing
Yes.
to do.
He
Yes.
will take that object of
Yes.
the previous one.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Of the-
this
of the
javana
Shruti, no? Of
will
the
make
Shruti
the next
also.
ones. You remember, it's like it's where the chain links. This one is closed and this
so
one
then
is
we are
closed.
linked to a
So-
Javana from a previous.
Yes.
No.
No, just only
Previous.
previous.
The previous one.
Just the previous, because you say that in that last moment,
Yes.
for the
But
future
but
life,
the javana
Yes,
no.
the
it's,
same
it's
one.
one to one,
Yes,
one to
but
one.
look, javana no. Only the Shruti, because
He says only Shruti.
Patisandhi, Bhavanga and Shruti, they are resultant consciousness, and they are the same type of resultant consciousness that take the same object.
And the green is
But
active. You are
this
making
green
the
one
next
It
seed.
is the near-death process of this person. So when in the death process, what is happening, or is what you are saying is he will take karma, kavaninka, gatininka different,
From
but
this
from
life
his life now.
to the other one.
From
And
this
So
then,
life.
actually-
so the next life,
Okay,
this
yes.
person will take these objects.
Yes.
What we need to do graphically is an arrow here. We need an arrow from here to here. It jumps Chuti because this is a fruit. It's already there. So
Resultant.
this one comes to here, and this one we need an arrow, jumps Chuti, only one cheetah, and jumps, and the quality of this gave the taste of the next life. The quality of this gave the taste. The quality of her, the last action of her gave the taste of him. The last action of him gave the taste of the life of her.
What do you mean with the taste? Like in the first years of it?
No, the whole life. All life we will have the same object. Okay, let's talk technically. The same object that was generated on this one will be the object that the mind, whenever it goes to sleep, to Bhavanga, it will be taking that object as a cane to hold on. The mind needs something to hold on. Without an object, it will fall down.
Okay, now just yes.
Okay.
Very simply,
Mhm.
in our lifetime, when we see something, we take the visible object. Yes. So this is some kind of new object that we react to. But the mind also, when there is rebirth and there is bhavanga, life continuum, which is those moments that are resultant only. They are resultant, so we don't do anything about it. It's resultant. But all kinds of chitta must take an object. So here we are discussing what kind of object this kind of resultant consciousness takes, because we have no control of it and we're not doing anything about it. It's just result that is happening. So these objects, they are taken, all those objects are from the javana of the previous life. So is that clear?
But see, but the taste like the taste of life means.
I don't know taste, but
I mean, it's the object. It's the object that the mind will go constantly. One of these three objects will be. Whenever our mind goes to unconscious, the mind will touch that object again. The last action of previous life. We are connected deeply with the last one we were. So the last action of the previous guy or girl is it's being touched constantly in our when our mind is not active. Let's put it that way. It's touch,
It's
touch,
just the
touch,
object
touch.
that the mind, when it is not active, that takes. Forget about taste, because this is not a
Yeah, yeah.
technical term and has nothing to do with this.
I don't
Just
know.
that it is the explanation, like how Bante express it, but it's nothing, not technical.
So it is gonna be very good to go back whenever there is a question like this, to go back and see the videos.
Yes.
Now you see, my dear family, we need the previous information. So please come and stay, because the previous explanation, we spent some time on the last week giving this, so it will build that. We will need it. It's necessary to see the videos and be kind of acquainted with the
Yes.
material.
Otherwise, we
Later
will
it's gonna be like, what?
Otherwise, we have to repeat.
Yes.
Like today. Yeah.
Do this means that we have such a kind of a hard memory, like a
No,
like
it's
some-
not a memory.
That's
We
not
don't
a
even
memory.
remember what was it.
Why? Why do lose
We can
our
do it
memory?
with Jana, but
Why we don't have memory of what happened in the past?
Yeah, if the mind is
We do
concentrated
have-
enough, we can.
with Jana,
remember.
why? Because our mind is very
Distracted.
weak and deluded. We are too busy with our life, previous life. But if we go to deep concentration,
Present life.
which is
Present.
in the present life, if we go to deep concentration with the 5 jhanas,
Can remember.
in the 5th jhana, we can remember how we die, how we live
Who we
thousands
were.
of times back. Not only one, thousands of, yes. That's, you remember when we saw the jhanas, the power of jhanas?
Yesterday,
One of the powers of the very concentrated mind, which we have access to if we practice on that line, we can see thousands of life back. Not only the previous
Depending
one,
on
who
the
we were,
reason.
where we born, what was the house, the name of our parents, how we died, how we live,
What he did.
everything. This one and the next and the next and the next and the next.
So
and the
we
next.
have a hard disk.
Yes, we
Mm.
can.
And cannot say
a hard
like
disk
that
with
because
as a potentiality.
As potentiality only.
There is no place for mind.
place.
Only that.
There is no storage, and not iCloud Drive is. The drive is not there.
That was a
There is
great
no-
idea,
Not
Yes.
there.
precisely.
It's not there.
The seed has all the potential for the tree and the fruits and the flowers and the leaves, but nothing is there yet. Our
No
mind,
storage house.
when it crosses our karmic potential, crosses to the next life as a seed. It has all those potential and memories, but there is no place. You cannot touch them. You can
Yeah.
only mind can access them through a very stable meditative process, which is the 5th jhana. Possible for all of us.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
If we practice.
And we have
If
apparently.
we practice it.
Yes, if we practice, we have apparently friends who has done it.
Oh,
I haven't done it, but we have friends who have done it, and people who have seen it, and they are. Why is it used for? To understand nature and be liberated from it. How many times we
Understand
suffer?
cause and
Otherwise,
effect.
if that knowledge is taken by ego, my goodness, all kind of mess in the world can happen. So we need to be very careful. And the Buddha himself was, at some monks he says, you don't do that. At some monks he says, okay, you can do. And I will say, depending on the level of humility.
So let's go. Now we said that these kind of objects for this 19 Vipakajita, which performs Patisandhi, Bhavanga, and Chuti, they could be 6 kind of objects, any of the 6 kinds. They can be the 5 sense objects, or can be mind objects as well, and it can be a past object, it can be a present object, and it can be a concept as well. Say concept in what cases? Say for example for jhana, then you remember that earth disk that they take as his object, or empty space. So those kind of object that if the person has jhana, so those will be the thing that present to his mind. Yes, and he will be reborn in the Brahma realm.
He goes up.
Yes, so those are those concepts that we're talking about here. Yes, okay. So let's continue. Now, last week we promised
Story.
So finally we
Story
are back to
time,
the story. Story to
Yes.
something
Let me see your
to
faces.
do with
Wow. This is about to get story face. Very nice.
something to do with rebirth. Okay, so now this story is going to bring us to the map, and we're going to go into ancient Sri Lanka. So
Wow.
in the old time in ancient Sri Lanka, there was a monk, and he was an arahant, a total enlightened being, and his name was Venerable Sona. Venerable Sona. So So Venerable Sona used to live in ancient Sri Lanka, and his father, during the lifetime of his father was a hunter. And in the old age of his father, then he decided to join Venerable Sona, and he ordained as a monk. And so he is not a hunter anymore. Then he retired, and then he became a monk. And so he went to live together with Venerable Sona. And later on, because of old age and sickness, and so his father is getting old, and so he was getting very sick, and he's about to die. And then one day, when he was in bed and he's about to die, then he starts screaming, and he said, "My son, help me! My son!" Then he was screaming, and then he said, "Dogs are chasing me! Dogs are chasing me!" he said. So Venerable Sona, listening to his father say that, then he knew, because he was an arahant, he knew that his father is seeing some kind of images, like objects, of where he's going to be reborn. So this is not going to be a good place where he's going to be. So that's why Venerable,
he started to see dogs chasing him.
So he's going to be going down because of his action of being a hunter for all his life, of killing, no? So then he was screaming and very scary. Then what Venerable Sona did was, he brought his father to the pagoda, and he requested some other monks to help him to offer flowers to the pagoda, to offer flowers to the Buddha. And then he brought his father and said, "Father, look, we are offering flowers to the pagoda in your name. And so come down and rejoice in this good deed that you are doing. You're offering flowers, and pay respect to the Buddha, to the Dhamma, and to the Sangha." So Venerable Sona told his father. Then his father come down, because his mind is now changed it, focused to
Kusala.
a good action that he is doing. So he's very pleased that they are doing this kusala for him. They're doing the flower offering. So after that, then his father come down, and the images of the dog disappeared, and another kind of image appeared in his mind. Then he was very calm now, and then he said to his son that what he's seeing and like that. And so Venerable Sona, he knows that now his father is going to be in a good destination according to what he was seeing. So in this case, saved at this time. So he's going, instead of being reborn into the lower realm, he's going to be reborn in a better realm, in a good sulati, a good location, a good destination. But but the story here is that Venerable Sona can save him once, but cannot save him forever. Yes, so because he is not totally enlightened, so in the next lifetime, even he is a good life, so all what he has done, it is possible to give result still. So the only way to close the door is to uproot the defilements and purify the mind and get totally enlightened. So these kusala seeds cannot arise. Yes, so that this time he was, because of Venerable Sona changed his object in the last moment, his focus, so it was able to somehow direct the mind to a good destination.
The whole consciousness to a good destination.
A good destination in this case. But it does not mean that it is totally closed, so it is also still possible for him to fall down. So it depends. It depends on his own action in the next life. Yes. So the last moment is very important. The last process are very important in this sense, because sometimes it is possible to be modified skillfully, no? So that's why Bante many times said that if a person is dying close to us, don't start crying and say don't go, or where is your bank book, or like don't ask him this thing, no? And because then he might generate greed or dosa or anything, then he can help. He can go down even if he might be going up, but because of what we are saying on the last moments, then we can make him angry.
Very sensitive.
Or if he is maybe in whatever he might be seeing, but if we start remind him, your life was very well lived, you have been kind with others, and so he being pleased with what he has done, so maybe this can help his direction to go to a good life in the next one. So it is important in this sense. Yes.
How you see?
So the flowers instead of after death that people use to
Yes.
Give them before. Yes, give them before.
As far as we know, You want to know how she died? She turned to one of the persons who was, she was very peaceful, Abhidhamma. She turned to one of the lady who was accompanying her, I don't know, it was a family member, and she said, can you please, I think it was Abhidhamma, I think, can you please offer, she had a Buddha in front of her, like this in an altar, can you please offer some flowers?
Yeah.
And then the girl came and put the flower, she was like this, oh,
Mm-hmm.
she just put her hands like this and passed away.
My.
Like she just imagine the elegance, and if stories are true, she
Since
might
she was
have
small, she
been
used to
enlightened.
like
So
to-
that was her last one.
She used to like to offer flowers to the Buddha since she was small. She said all the little girls were playing dolls and things, and she offer flowers to the pagodas.
Making garlands. She used to make as a child garlands and be putting onto sacred stones that she felt something and she was putting on. Oh no, when there is elegance, there is elegance.
Okay, so that was about
Thank
rebirth
you.
object.
Thank you.
and so those are the last objects, very important for the next
Next one.
life. And with this, then we have finished Aramana, 6 types of Aramanas: visible, form, sound, smell, taste, tangible object, which are a combination of the 3, and mental objects, and those objects of rebirth, Patisandhi, Bhavanga, and Shruti. Yes, so now we have finished with
Birth,
Aramana.
life, and death.
And we have this table that I will send you by notes, with the notes, and so you can see what kind of chitta takes what kind of objects, what can be possible and what can be not possible. Yes. Say for example, I cannot take smell, I cannot take sound. Yeah, that's quite obvious. So on this table, it will show what is possible to be taken by what kind of consciousness. So we're not going to go into details to look at this now. So if you wish, you can check it in your notes, and if you find something like why is this like that or something, then we can discuss later on. Yeah. So this leave it as homework for yourself to check the tables. So now let's go to the next section finally.
Good.
Let's go to what do.
Can
yes.
I ask something about like
Aramana?
the objects? Yeah.
Don Lalo.
These 3 that present in the last in the death process,
Mhm.
so they can also be present like 1 hour before dying.
Yes,
2
a
days
little bit before.
dying,
Well,
or-
I don't know how long, but it
Mhm.
can be not exactly the last, because in the story of Venerable Sona's father, that he is like already saying and still they have time to do the offering and everything. So since a little bit before the image is presenting in his life, but
in the last one must be that object.
but the
eh?
last one is
Must be
changed
that
already. Yes, so
Mhm.
it was presented to him a little while ago, and then because of what Venerable Sona did, the first flower, and then he changed his mind. So the last moment that those objects is taken, this kama nita must be something has to do with the offering of the flower, not the dogs anymore.
And apparently, since if we are not definitely bad condition of the body or killed by an accident or something, we somehow, because of mental activity, can prolong how soon we die. That's when we see, for example, many people when before they cannot die and they're suffering something like this, but at some moment they say, okay, and they release the mind, then immediately they die. Because there's some activity holding life and they then can prolong it, hence more suffering, because the body is already, since before, not able to hold it. So I suppose in this case, if we apply that in this case, the father was already dying and was having already maybe those ones. Venerable Sona listened to it and then he got a little bit of energy and activity to be able to change. So maybe the objects are presented as sooner, but I will say at the end, the object must be is the one who gives the seal.
Yes,
you cannot have
that's-
something before and then that one is gonna be the seal, but might be already coming like on
Since
the working,
a little bit earlier.
wobbling already. Running.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so now let's go to what to bases. Bases, they are actually physical bases. So these 6 bases serve as a physical support for chitta to arise. So for us human being, we need some physical material quality to support the arising of the mind. Now of chitta. Now we'll see why and sensitivity, ear, nose, and sensitivity, no? Because let's say for eye consciousness to arise, Chaku Vinyana, for eye consciousness to arise, there must be an eye, must be eye sensitivity, yes? Because if there is no eye sensitivity, then we cannot see anything. So eye consciousness or eye chitta cannot arise, definitely, yes? So ear consciousness, in the same way, no ear sensitivity, ear consciousness cannot arise. So that is the physical basis for this, to support this chitta to arise, no? That's quite easy to understand. Okay, so they are, all these 6 are material quality, they are rupa.
But which is the last one?
Coming.
Okay.
Coming. So for these 5 is quite easy to understand, and then now we have here what Marcos is asking is called heart base, and now we will go into more detail because this is what we are going to
Get
discuss a little bit.
experience, comillas. There are more than what can be. And I cannot go immediately to. There's great controversy there. I know where we're going. Wait.
So these kind of material bases are those that support chitta to arise. So every kind of chitta must have a base, physical base, for it to arise for a human being. Yes, for it to arise. So let's say this is supported by one of this base, one of this base. Yes. So now we'll go into detail to see how and which and what. Now let's look at these 5 first. For these 5. As we already said, for eye consciousness to arise, to see something, there must be the support of the eye sensitivity, pasada rupa. Then with this we can understand easily, no? Now, for ear, nose, tongue, body is the same. So this pasada rupa supports for eye consciousness, ear consciousness, or the senses consciousness to arise. Then you may say, it's the same as the door. Yes, because the pasada rupa itself is also the door. Yes. So what's the difference here? Is that the door is from where these chittas, the eye consciousness or ear consciousness, receive the object. Yes. But now base means, although they are the same thing, base means what support this chitta to arise. Yes.
This
Okay,
is what
so it's
makes.
different.
That's what receives.
The door is also, although it's the same quality here, no, same one. So it actually does 2 things. As a door, it is where it through there it receives the object. But as a basis, it what supports
Holds
it, the chitta to arise. Yes. So they are different in this sense. Door
Because
and basis. Yes.
because we can see, we see. Then that enters the door. Because we can see, because we have the base to see, then we can see.
Then it is the through which the object comes in. No. Yes. Okay.
Sorry, as a
Yes.
door, do you refer as well as an object?
No.
No.
No?
Because
It's the
object is a
ability to
visible
receive.
object.
Okay.
Yes, the pasada itself,
Object.
the chaku pasada itself is the door. So the object is here, a visible object is through
Object
the eye
is light and
sensitivity.
form.
But
Itself,
but
the
I
thing
mean,
to be seen. That
the
that
mental
object.
object, from the previous information, I understood that the mental object has this sensitive matter.
The
Yes, but no, we here we're talking about 5 senses. 5 senses, not talking about a mental object here, because it's the five senses. Yeah. So eye, ear, nose, tongue, and touch.
Yeah.
So mental object, forget about it at the moment. We will come next.
Okay.
So only the 5 sense objects. So visible object, sound object, and no smell, taste, and touch. No. So whatever we hear, sound is the object. Yes, sound is the object which ear consciousness take. Yes.
on
Then
the base
ear-
of the ear.
Then ear sensitivity is the door through which the sound comes in. And it's also the base that supports this ear consciousness to arise. Because if there is no ear sensitivity, we cannot hear.
And if there is no sound to hear, we don't hear anything. So we
But
need
that
the
is
object, the
external,
sound.
this is internal.
That sound needs to come and touch the sensitivity of the ear. It has a base, this, and then the mind, it opens the door, then we know it's a clap, then the mind does its thing. So object is the very thing, sensitivity here, and then it opens,
That in
the mind
context-
knows what it is and it likes or dislike.
Yes. Okay. So now I mentioned door because for the five senses, pasada rupa also serve as door, also serve as base. But for the mind is different. For the mind, remember the mind door? What was mind door? Bhavanga chitta, no? Because it is through Bhavanga chitta, and then the Bhavanga chick, then the mind turns into something that it is thinking about. So it is through Bhavanga that the object comes into the mind.
The mind is
Yes?
sleeping and then starts shaking, oh, what? And then it turns and then it's thinking already. So
For
whatever
only
whatever
mind.
wakes the object, mental object comes, the mind is sleeping, and then what? And now it's thinking.
So mind door is Bhavanga, but mind base is not Bhavanga. So that's the difference, yes? So because my Bhavanga itself is a mind, no? So the base must be a material quality. Must be a material quality, yes? No, we're coming here. So the base for chittas, other than the two groups of the five sense chittas, no? All other chittas, besides the eye, nose, tongue, the 10, three pancha vinyana, besides those 10, yes? For it to arise, the base for chitta is actually called heart base. Okay, so heart base support other kind of chittas besides the dvipancha vinyana to arise. Now let's take so now we have all the 6 bases. Yes, so the 5 sense bases and heart bases. They are all material quality. Okay, so let's take the idol mental process as an example. Now, for the idol mental process, we are quite familiar already, no? Then the past bhavanga, then 3 bhavanga shakes, then panchadwara avajana, 5 sense door turning, chaku vinyana, eye consciousness arises, no? After turning arises. Sampatichana receiving, santirana, investigating, votavana determining, jhana,
Action.
tadavana aftertaste,
Go back to
then
sleep.
bhavanga again. Yeah. So in this case, all the active chittas here, meaning since the turning until tadaramana, all the active chitta here takes the visible object as object, yes? What we are seeing, yes? Okay, so for bases, here, chaku vinyana, the base for chaku vinyana to arise is chakupasada.
Chakupasada.
Yes, eye base. So how about all the other ones? So all the other ones does not base on the eye. Yes,
They base on the mind.
Yes, so that is called heart base. So only the eye consciousness or ear consciousness take ear base. No consciousness take nose base. So besides those 5 that take other base, or other take mind base, heart base. Yes.
No, it's not
Now,
like
okay,
that.
now we coming heart base. Now, in
What?
the 7th book of the Abhidhamma, in the Patana, the Buddha he says, independence on. This is not exact words. It is a little bit modified so we can understand it easier.
Modified.
Yeah, modified. So, independence on a certain type of matter, chittas, other than the 2 groups, other than Dvipanchavinana, arises. So, the Buddha actually said dependence on a certain type of matter. He never said it is heart. He said a certain type of matter. He
This
didn't
is where
specify
the controversy comes.
what kind of matter. So, but ancient teachers took it, commentators took it to be the heart, to be heart-based. But the Buddha never said. He said only a certain type of matter. Yes? Okay, now, the ancient teachers, then they took heart-based, there must be some kind of reason also. So we can also understand, say for example, when we are very angry, dosa, when dosa arises, what happened to the heart? Yeah, it agitates a lot, yes? Or sometimes we can even get a heart attack, yes? Or sometimes when we are very sad, then what we say? Then we say that the heart is so heavy.
Broken.
Yes, that is so heavy.
My
Or
heart is
my heart is broken, yes? Or sometimes when a person is very kind, very nice, I said he has a good heart.
Good heart,
He's
yes.
a kind-hearted person, yes? So many times we relate somehow the mind
Mental
with
activity.
the heart.
Love
in,
and passion.
in language, yes? So maybe because of this, the ancient teachers, they took that certain type of matter mentioned by the Buddha to be heart-based, to be the heart. But in the same way as pasada rupa, we know that the eye sensitivity is not the whole eyeball, yes? It's some kind of material quality inside the eye. In the same way, heart-based, what the teacher says, though certain type of matter is not the whole heart organ. is some kind of
Matter.
matter that is inside some veins or somewhere inside the heart, some kind of matter.
So that kind of neurons, I think, might be,
Could
well,
be.
is not
Yes.
yet confirmed,
Uh-huh.
but might be. They refer to as some kind of thing that the heart is doing for the mind to happen as a base. So we are still there. Because the Buddha, hopefully, he was alive and he could. This is a very,
Clarify.
very big controversy through thousands of years.
It's
No, heart
always
base.
there.
No, the Buddha didn't say do. And then Buddha, can you please just tell us yes or no? But that's why it stays
Yeah.
like that. But yes.
Give.
And
yes.
Thai teachers, they always refer. They never say mind. They say the heart. The heart. What is your heart doing? That's how they say. And then you
Or listen
people,
to your heart.
listen
or
to your heart.
something,
People
like
gets a little bit confused. So we prefer often not to use it because of, especially in our Latin culture, how it is charged with so many things.
Feelings,
So just go
emotions,
to
and
the
things.
consciousness, and the consciousness is clear, and the Buddha did clarify precisely which one is there, but we still don't something, and we have some tendency for it. It is beautiful, and there are some research coming out that it says that it is on the place where the blood passes. Teachers and commentators has even said so in the past. It is not the heart itself. This is what Charana was just saying. It is something where the blood passes. That thing is supporting for the mind, the consciousness to arise.
Okay, I know there are many
And we know
comments
that.
and things. Give me 1 minute to finish
Yeah,
this slide
I
and
go
go there.
Okay.
So because it might.
We should bring a shield or something.
I guess
Okay.
question.
So this is what ancient commentators and teachers, they say that it is heart-based. But also, since nowadays science, we said that the mind is also connected to the brain. Yes.
Yes.
So how about a brain base?
It is.
Yes. Also, so
Nervous
some
system. That's it.
teachers also
Even to the
and
intestines. Even to the intestines.
Yes, there are
So-
neurons all
so-
over. The spinal cord is
Yes.
an early brain.
Yes. So since the Buddha only said a certain type of matter, he didn't say what it is. So it depends on each one of you to take it.
No, don't leave us so much. Don't give us so much freedom. friend.
No, I mean the
more mess.
ancient
You are starting more
commentators.
mess.
No,
No.
I mean the ancient commentators. They said it is
The heart.
heart-based.
Heart
So
base. Ancient commentators. The Buddha says certain
say-
kind of matter.
So the ancient teachers and teachers, they said heart-based. So some people prefer brain-based. So whatever base it might be, we just have to understand that depend on a certain kind of matter that mind arises, and that's it. So
Okay.
whatever matter it may be, then it's not defined.
But the only thing we know it's matter.
Yes, some kind of material quality.
As a humanity, yes, we have much more understanding of matter than consciousness. That's what you were saying. Yes, and we are
We
getting
don't-
close, and we don't yet know consciousness. Forget it. Forget about psychology, physiology, and things. We know very little as humanity. So yes, we
So-
are just starting to get. What is it?
So it kind of makes sense, no? Because if eye consciousness arises based on some kind of material quality, which is eye sensitivity, so other kinds of minds based on some kind of material quality for it to arise.
Yes, but
That's
it-
it. But then we didn't say, the Buddha didn't specify what, and the teacher
A
said.
fact that we can state is that mind needs physicality to
To
happen.
arise.
Be it the brain, be it the heart, be it the body itself. Without a mind on a body, the body is dead.
For a human being.
And for a human being. And only Brahmas can have a mind working, functioning without
Without-
any base, because they
We
have
will
no
come
body,
here
no
also,
physical base, and it is possible. So that brings another avenue of wonder. Imagine, consciousness can exist by itself without the need of matter. So how much is it linked? How much is it not? Where is it? It has
Depend
no
on
place,
what
it has
kind
no
of
shape, it has
beings.
no touch, it has no texture. So mind is just something, no space, and some teacher says no time, so it becomes a
Now-
little bit more complex. The universe is deep.
We will see about the other beings also, but now we're talking about
Okay.
human beings, yes? Okay, so
Humans.
now,
Enough with humans.
now, talking about the brain, now what we need is
That's very cute,
to
Sharon.
wake up our memory disk
That's very cute.
and start loading more information, because from here we will need information from what we have already seen before. Yes, actually from now on we need to be loading until the last chapter, because the previous few chapters are those information that will help construct what we are looking at.
Nice.
So
Very
we have
nice.
to we have to yes, remember the information that we have seen in order to be able to put them together. Yes, so let's work.
My dear friend, my dear family, what we have seen until now was the training. Now here comes the real stuff. We will need a lot of facts to start bringing, but don't worry, we will remember. We have the charts and things. Now we will start looking at the functioning of things, and now, for inspiration, is where the real dentist 20s will start falling. The real insights, because we start putting all the parts together, and we will see the machinery, how the mind and consciousness and the body is doing what we call me, what we call you, the person I like, dislike, and what we call life. Now we are starting. Now, ready? Are you ready?
Yes, because from now on we will be saying like the door of this chitta, the base of that chitta, and the object of that chitta. Then if you don't remember anything, then it is not possible to continue build up.
But
So,
don't worry,
but don't worry, because we will repeat. So don't have to memorize everything, but just we have to keep in mind what we have seen and try to remember. Yes. Okay. So now let's remember something. So the 5 aggregates, pancha kanda. Anybody still remember something about this? Yes. Okay. So I will explain it again. So don't worry. So 5 aggregates. In ultimate reality, we said that we are actually composed of mind and matter. Yes. Yes, mind and matter. But the Buddha sometimes he explained a little bit more in details this mind and matter. Yes. So in brief, mind and matter, and a little bit more complete, more detailed. Let's say. Then sometimes the Buddha he explained mind to be chitta and chittasikas.
Which we know
Yes,
already
which is
very
only
clearly.
mind. Yes, but we divide it into chitta and chittasikas as we have already studied. So now we have 3, chitta, chittasika, and rupa. Yes, and again, if we further divide, chittasika can be further divided into 3
Because
groups.
of the importance of these ingredients, the Buddha decided to say, no, this one puts them aside. They are very important.
And also sometimes depend on the audience, on the person. Like this person he understands better when it is very simple, mind and
Not
matter.
mind and
that's it.
matter, finish.
Or this person he has a very analytical mind. He needs more information. So the Buddha explained it in more details. Yes, sometimes so depends. So and Cetasika we can also divide it into 3 groups: Vedana, mental feeling; Sanya, perception; and another called Sankhara, which are all the others mental factors other than these 2.
So
Yes.
50.
So actually, it's only 52 Cetasika, but again divided a little bit more in details.
Now
yes?
it also changes if the person had more knowledge about the structure of the consciousness. The Buddha could
Can
explain
explain
better and
different
go
way.
much more detail, depending on where the Buddha felt that person was going to understand better. So the Buddha explained many ways, from very simple to very
complex.
very detailed. And in the Abhidhamma he said, okay, I will forget about who's listening. I will just say how it is. This is what we are doing here. Like-
Okay, so now we have mind divided into 4. Yes, Chitta, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Rupa. So 5. So these 5 are called 5 aggregates. Aggregates or kanda means group.
Welcome.
Yeah, like a group of things. Yes. Okay, so
And the Buddha can still subdivide in the ayatanas and another more divisions,
different
Later
categories, but
we
it's
will
only
see.
this,
It's
only
the same
mind and
thing.
matter. So now chittas, in the 5 aggregates, in this category, it's called vijnana, consciousness, vijnana. So vijnana kanda, yes? Okay, then because pancha kanda, not 5 groups, so vijnana group,
Pancha.
vijnana kanda, vedana kanda, sanya kanda, sankhara kanda, and rupa kanda. So these 5 is called
Kanda is
the
aggregate, a
aggregate.
things.
aggregate or group, no?
Group.
So 5 groups, 5 groups. Okay, so as we have seen, Vijnana Kanda actually in details is 89 or 121 types of chittas we have already seen, no?
All of them in
kinds
chapter
chittas.
number 1.
Yes, so Vedana, Sanya and Kanda, which are chittasikas, 52 of them.
Which
yes?
we saw all of them
We
in
saw
chapter
all
number
already,
2.
yeah? So 1 Vedana, 1 one sanya, and the other 50 are in a group called Sankara Kanda. So it means Vasa, Manasikara, Lova, Dosa, Metta,
Mom.
Upanya, everything is in here. Yes?
Everything else.
Okay, of the 50 types. And then Rupa Kanda, 28 types, which we will see in chapter 6. So all these 5 is
20
called
28
the 5
kinds of matter,
aggregates.
sorry.
Yes, so it is good to remember these 5 aggregates. But in short, it's only just mind and matter.
And
That's
in
it.
shorter, we can say me. I. It's I, Nama and Rupa, 5
What we call
khandhas,
I is
12
actually
ayatanas,
only
18
5
dhatus,
aggregates,
etc. etc. etc.
What we call I and me is, or
Nama.
whatever other person is only mind and matter, combination of mind and matter. But these 5 khandhas, 5 aggregates, panchakanda, it is really suggested to remember it because it comes up again and again and again and again in many different contexts, different suttas and Abhidhamma. And so if we know, whenever we see 5 khandhas, we know what it means, mind and matter, divided into
Which one?
groups. So good to remember.
Very
these 5,
useful,
yes?
very useful.
Yes, okay, so now hold this information, exercise the brain, we're going to see something else and come back, okay? Now,
Juggling. Now,
Remember?
now 3 balls, now 4 balls. Yeah.
second ball coming.
Second ball, hold it. We can do it. We can do it.
Remember, we have seen the realms, 31 realms, 4 lower planes, 1 human, 6 devas, 16 fine material, and 4 non-material. Yes, those
Only
are
mind.
those are the
31.
31 planes of existence. So whatever living beings there may be, it's also all in one of these kind of realm they live. Okay. So now let's only talk about sense sphere. Sense sphere. So about senses, yes. So it is the 4 lower realms, 1 human plane, and 6 deva realms are sense realm because there are a lot of sensual input, no? Like sight, sound, smell, and taste, and everything. So in these realms, the beings that lives here, they have mind and matter. So that's why they are called 5 aggregate beings. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So beings that have mind and matter have 5 aggregates. Yes.
But the 6 beta planes, they don't have a body.
They have
fine,
body, just fine.
Very fine. We
Just
cannot
fine,
see it
we cannot
anymore,
see,
and they
but they
can
have
cross
body.
the matter that we know. They can cross
They
it
have
at will.
body.
They might be crossing us right now, but they have body. But it is refined. It's subtle,
Fine.
subtle body. Only the Brahmas, the last one, they are the ones who has no body, non-material.
Non-material.
Only
they have
mind.
no body. They have
So they live everywhere. In the
not there
universe.
or nowhere.
Or nowhere, as you
they-
like it.
So they have a matter or a body,
Who?
but we cannot.
Who?
Oh,
Devas, yes,
Yeah, the
they
devas.
have
we
matter.
can
We cannot see.
perceive it.
We cannot
Yes.
see them
But they
now.
They have.
But we can see them. If our mind is very stable and our senses are so sensitive, we spoke last week about it, we might see some of them. Or sometimes they materialize themselves to be seen. It has been in times of the Buddha and apparently many times in this time, they materialize and can be seen and even be heard and things. But they are floating and
They
they
have,
like forests. So we are
fine
surrounded maybe by many.
They are the so-called angels.
And we cannot say that way. We have
Different
already
names,
we have already
different names.
discussed with
That-
Don Diegas, but we are not totally sure. We prefer to keep them as they are. They have some similarities. We keep them there.
Yeah, they are devas.
Otherwise, we get into because if we say angels, we already had a lengthy discussion, Diegas, so we can
Yes.
open it again. Yes.
So there are other types of beings that are called devas
Fine
Fine.
body
with a finer material.
with a finer mind. Also, they have much better.
They arrive there because of good sila, good morality and generosity. So if a person that has in a lifetime does a lot of generosity and a lot of moral, his
Morality
is
is
very
clean.
good, then
Go to
they
Deva.
could reborn as deva also, like as a human.
You want to be Deva?
See,
Behave
Also
well.
lifetime
Behave well.
in a
Behave
deva.
well.
The lifetime
Be a good
we
boy.
need for a deva.
A long time. They have 6
We'll see
planes,
in,
so in
chapter
different
6.
Okay.
6 planes, so every different planes have different lifespans. So
Thousands
we'll
and
see that.
thousands of years because they
We'll
don't
see
have
that in
materiality.
chapter 6.
We are so gross,
Chapter
so smelly that we get putrid easily. Our body gets putrid. Even 3 days without showering, something. So devas are very light. They don't smell and they don't rot.
Or
That's
maybe
why.
they smell very good.
Or they smell very good. That's why their lives are very long because they have nothing to pull them down as carnal, how to say, as our own bodies. So they live.
Okay, let's continue.
Yes.
Yes.
En las fotografías, en ocasiones aparecen esferas de luz,
Yup.
¿sí?
Buddhists also say that there are some kind of
I
things
cannot
that.
know. This
that-
is not sure.
I was surprised in Burma when we saw photos from some teachers and there were these lights. I listened. The Samaneras, the young monks saying, "Oh, Deva, Deva, Deva," and I was like, "Oh, you also say the same here because we say this here, no?" So yes, they do say
Possible, but
It's possible.
possible.
it's possible,
Possible,
yeah,
possible.
possible, but
And
we don't know.
I just
Sí,
see one
no,
thing.
no es certeza.
I just only
pero-
say one thing. If the universe exists and there are humans and animals, why not? I mean, they're already humans. Look, this thing.
No,
this
Deva
thing,
exists
this
is
thing
kind of
already
sure.
exists. Why not do something? Well, of course.
I mean, Deva exists is kind of sure, but those light bulbs are Devas or not, we are not sure.
Yeah, we're not sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
And Carl Sagan says another thing that another phrase that I will keep there. Carl Sagan once says, if in the universe there were no beings, there were no more beings than human beings, what an awful waste of space. I mean,
Yes, it is
we are a planet in a solar system that is in the edge of the galaxy, of one of the billions of galaxies, and we believe that we are the only ones that shut up.
Yeah, it is true.
Yeah.
It is
Okay.
really
Impossible, impossible.
Yeah, shall we
So
continue?
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah Charana. Yes.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so
Go ahead.
these beings in the sense realm, they are called the five aggregate beings because they have mind and matter. Yes, so four mind, one matter, no? Four types divided, but one mind and matter. Okay, so because we have body, so the six bases are available in these realms. Yes? Yes? So eye, ear,
Yes.
nose, and heart base is available for these realms. So whenever mind arises, it's based on one kind of these bases, material bases for these beings.
6 bases.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so now, how about fine material sphere? Fine material sphere beings, they are also five aggregate beings. Fine material,
Fine.
they still have material.
Not Brahmas. These ones
These
still
are Brahmas,
finer
they are
than
Brahmas.
Devas.
They are Brahmas.
Yes, but not the Brahma, Arupa Brahma. I mean.
This is Rupa Brahmins. Yes, so they have material.
They have Rupa.
They have, so they are also five aggregate beings. But remember how beings arrive to here? Yes, by jhana. Yes, by jhana. So when the mind is in jhana, the mind is not thinking about sense desire. No,
It's
it's not
beyond
thinking
us.
about looking beautiful things, listening beautiful sound, smelling good smell, or anything. So these are actually things that the mind has to
Calm.
has to come down or
Overcome.
has to overcome. Yes, say overcome the sense desire in order to arrive to the jhanas. Yes, so that's why for the jhana realms, for beings in the jhana, in the fine material sphere, they arrive to jhana. They actually do not have some kind of the
Basis.
sensitivity, sense basis. So for fine material beings, smell sensitivity, taste sensitivity, and body sensitivity does not arise in these realms. This material quality does not arise there. So that does not mean, well, according to the explanation of the teachers, the Brahma beings or Deva beings, they are a little bit similar kind of like structure like a human, but they are more beautiful, but kind of similar. So without this sensitivity, that does not mean that they have no nose, or that does not mean that they have no tongue or like that, but just that there is a nose, but then there is no sensitivity inside. Yes. So let's say, for example, sometimes human being, they have an eye, but they cannot see. So the eye sensitivity
It's
is not working, or it is not there.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
something like that. Yes. So they have like this feature, but they cannot smell, they cannot taste, and they cannot touch, although they have a body, because there is no sensitivity. So for these realms, they only have eye sensitivity, ear sensitivity, and heart base. So only 3 bases available in this realm. Now you may say, then why do they have eye or ear sensitivity? If they are if those are not, then why they want to see something nice or what? No, like so. Actually, then this eye sensitivity or ear sensitivity are left intact because they can see the Buddha or see noble beings or listen to the teachings. So that's why there's not about senses and not about entertainment, because you don't smell or you don't taste the teaching, no? So this is because of the teaching that they leave this eye and ear sensitivity intact in order to be able to listen to the teachings or to see noble beings.
And another thing to consider, my dear family, if we could look at the qualities of our senses, the most physical ones, definitely this is physical. We must feel it through the body. Taste comes through matter. We must experience the particles of food to be able to say sweet, to say salty, etc. And to smell is also the particle comes through the nose and touches the sensitivity directly on the brain. That's the closest thing that there is to the brain. It has no cables. That's why when people inhale cocaine or things, it's like a very straightforward thing. And these ones, if you see just the object of it, this is touch, which is physical, this is taste, which is particles, and smell is also particles. This one is not particle anymore, it's just vibration. So you see, it is much more refined, and much more even refined, another kind of vibration on the same electromagnetic spectrum, but much more fine, which is light. So these one are refined, that's why these beings only keep refined in the sense of grossness, not of good or bad,
And also,
not ethically.
and also about ethically, like smell and taste and touch mostly is about sensual pleasure. No?
Yes.
That we eat
That
and
is
we
the
smell
most-
and
the
we
heaviest
have a
of our
massage
senses.
because of sensual pleasure. But it is not because of something that we can learn through it. But eye and ear is different. Eye and ear, then we can, through eye and through ear, we can learn something, we can see something good. Also, that's why in this realm, only 3 bases is available. So all the chitas that arises in these beings are based on only these 3 bases. Yes? Okay, then how about non-material sphere? Non-material, okay, already non-material. So there is no material quality at all in these places. So therefore,
Oh, pobrecito.
they are called 4 aggregate beings. Actually, no tan pobrecito because they don't have any pain anymore. So 4 aggregate beings, no, not 5 aggregate beings, 4 aggregate beings. So they don't have in this realm because no rupas, so no basis at all. So the mind arises independent of any basis for this type of beings.
Yes.
Okay, now.
No more pain, no more death, human death.
Yes.
Kind of.
So that's about what to about the bases. 6 bases available in the sense realm. 3 bases are available for 5 material Brahmins, and no basis is necessary for non-material beings. Okay. So now, at what time?
Yeah, something.
Because there are in. Oh, okay. We still have
Still
time.
have time.
Yes. So we still have something interesting that we can explore. Now here is again the chart. Then we can look. I will also send it to you in the notes. Then you can see what kind of. Here are the chitas and here are the bases. So what kind of chitta arises by what basis? What base support what kind of chitta to arise? But here we will not go into one by one, but we will see some of them which are kind of interesting, from which we can learn something, new information from the chart. Yeah, so we will only see that. So let's take a look. Here all kinds of chittas, here all kinds of bases, and then you see here heart base or mind base. It says always and it says sometimes.
How come?
Yes, so why always and why sometimes? What does that mean? So actually what it wants to say is for the arupa beings, for the beings that have no body, no, they have no material quality. So let's say here, a Greek-rooted consciousness. If it arises in a human being, then it arises through mind base, heart base. If it arises in the arupa being, then it is no base. Yes, so that's why it is sometimes with base, sometimes no base, depending on
the realm.
on the realm, on which being it is arises. Yes. Now we'll go a little bit more details. Yes.
But in those beings that are that highly evolved, still greed can arise.
Yes.
Cannot say
we are
highly
coming there.
evolved. Cannot say. They are
Yes,
very
they are
refined
refined.
beings. They are refined beings, but they might have a lot of ignorance. A person,
It's going to have a lot of ignorance.
yes, they're still in
No,
samsara. Well,
less
less
than
than
us,
us,
much
for
less
sure.
than us.
They have less than us, but they're still rolling in samsara. We cannot say they are
They are not
refined
free.
ethically. Ethically not refined. Refined in their core,
Ethically also,
in their
because they don't do
in
bad
their
there.
structure, yes.
They don't.
But they might
Still have the same
I mean,
issues
and-
like we.
No,
not
no,
so
they
much
don't,
because
they don't.
they don't want to see beautiful things. They don't want to taste. Oh, give me some more of this. Do you have more of this?
It will
They don't
come.
have because they don't touch anymore. So they are just a mind there. That's why they are called Brahmas.
They give-
And in India, the highest god is called Brahma. And so-called this is we need to cut it from the video because if Indians listen, it can became a revolution, a riot. Look, and here we goes with God. These beings have no body. They are only mind. And the mind has a caducidad, very long caducidad. How you say? Lifespan is very, 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 very long. So some of these beings realize themselves. They can create things because we can imagine things. For them, there is their only reality. So whatever they imagine, they create it. And they live so long that they don't know if they're born or they will die, that one of them or a few of them have believed to be gods and to create things. So that kind of beings apparently are the ones that is called same Brahma. I'm saying this taking responsibility as well. But the Hindu people might have taken one of these beings believed to be a god, and then they call it a god, a creator, and a whole encompassing thing, whole knowing, and he has this ability. But then the Buddha comes and says, oh, sorry, technically, what you call a god is not even enlightened, and a human can go further than that god. A human being who becomes an arahant, which is any of us, if we purify our mind to the utmost, no more anger, no more greed, and no more illusion or ignorance, we can have a higher standard of mind and quality than any Brahma. So there is when it comes, how can you say that you can become greater than a god? Well, if it is that kind of god, and an all-knowing and all-created, non-dying being, yes, apparently there is a lot of confusion, and they exist, but they are still on samsara, and they will sooner or later die when their lifespan finishes. And amazingly, if they are a god, considered a god, here comes the tiri part, which is they can fall down to the bottom one again. They are not stable. Like like for example in Christianity they say when you die you will go to hell or heaven forever, independently. And then the Buddha says, excuse me, technically the nature is changing and the mind can be developed. You cannot, because you did something in a minuscule human life. You did something and you go forever to hell. Come on, it's not possible that a single act of negativity will give you a forever bless or forever punishment. It doesn't make sense with nature. So these beings, which are considered themselves and by humans gods, may fall down to animal or something. So here it comes like the thing. Samsara is happening and we are on it, but we have the possibility to liberate. It becomes really interesting seeing it in a objective way. Let's not judge. We're just putting information on the table. I'm responsible for it, and here is what there is.
That's the case of Satan.
Yes.
A couple quick questions. First one is, if that's there is a possibility that we already been in a Brahma state already for this.
Mostly surely. Teacher says surely. We have.
Yeah, because it's.
What?
Then what? What?
Well, that's first question. And second one, what can they create if they create?
They create mind, because they are mind, they create mind, and we can as well. We can
create
imagine
that.
things,
But
and they're mentally they are real.
I mean, but they cannot create a life.
Physically, no.
No, because
They don't create the world. They don't create a life. They cannot change
matter.
the karma. They cannot change the karma of another being. They can only modify themselves.
Okay.
Or
Same as us.
they can create a celestial mansion or something like that.
They can create some. Devas can create food, for example, pizza.
Celestial pizza.
Celestial, but Deva pizza, right?
Don't know if they eat
Nivelón.
Hay niveles,
Hay niveles. The pizza, light salami or something like that.
Sicilian salami.
Heavenly cheese or something like that.
Okay.
Yes, but apparently and definitely in Tibetan, and I have heard it, that we have some, as you say, it's some ideas because we are not sure. I have also heard in Theravada that teachers have said there is very likely that we have been all over the spectrum already. If we're a human, we have been up, we have been down. So gods, yes, they call it devas. Deva comes from deity. It comes from that. Brahma is considered a demigod or something like that. So sometimes when they ask, we have a very nice friend teacher from Malaysia, and he lives in a Muslim in Malaysia, in a Muslim environment. So often they bring him the question and they say, so Buddhists have God, no God? And he said, oh, Buddhists has so many gods. Which one you want? You want a Deva, you want a Brahma?
Or Brahmas guide us in some way?
No.
No.
They can make us jokes.
Ah, okay.
They can joke us. The Devas, especially, there are some naughty Devas. Shadow come always say, oh, wait, don't put devas like, oh, very nice. Sometimes they are naughty. And how you call Mara?
Mara is actually a deva.
Mara is a deva.
Mara.
And he came to make the
He made
life
travel
to the Buddha because he said, this one is gonna get enlightened, I will have less power. So let's bring him down. And the Buddha, elegantly.
But so if a deva can even make trouble to the Buddha during his meditation, of course he can do
Yes.
many things
Yes.
to humans.
To humans,
Yes,
oh, yes.
yes, but
Yes.
not that he guide us or like that. Not.
Let's
like
bring up the quality, and here it comes with angels, because angels, also angels, fallen angels, and there are all these things. Devas can also help, and when
like
we
guardian angels.
say, yes, the protection, Buddhists are likely to say, okay, Devas, we
Yes.
come in peace, we will go in peace. I hope we don't bother you. Let's live together. If you can, give us a hand.
And also,
It's always a
in the
little bit.
suttas also say that if a person is constantly living with metta, like a lot of metta to
Devas,
all beings, the
yeah.
devas love them and maybe sometimes help them.
And you want to know something else that I
Yes.
remember very often?
Metta, loving kindness.
Yeah.
Apparently, teacher says that whenever the Dhamma is spoken, wherever the Dhamma is spoken, generally
Some devas come
are
to
around.
listen sometimes.
Devas are around because especially those who listen in previous lives, they have a liking and they know that information can help to liberate them. So what we are doing here might be beyond what we can see. So
So
bring the
don't
good,
jokes.
bring the good, and I know we always say hello,
So
hello, whoever
don't jokes
lower
about
down.
celestial pizzas because they will say no, we don't
Sorry,
eat
sorry,
that.
sorry. It's just something. Sorry.
Okay,
But can you
yes.
say that como devas, it's easier for them to get enlightened?
If they
Yes.
practice, yes,
Yes.
because they have less suffering. If they are inclined to the teachings, yes, because they live longer, they have more time to practice.
And they don't get sick.
And they don't get angry as often as
that
we
they
do.
don't get
So
sick.
all the time that we
So-
use getting sick and getting healed and eating healthy, they don't worry. So they can practice.
Possible.
When we ask our teacher, just joking, we were very friendly at that moment. Teacher, what would you like
If you
like
don't
to
get
happen if
enlightened
you don't get
in this
enlightened in this life? We really hope that you get.
But what
If you don't get enlightened, what would you like to be next? And he said, I would like to become a deva with the same wish of continuing learning the Buddha's teaching. And then we say, oh, because he told us, then I don't get sick, I live longer, and I have much more time and a clearer mind to understand the teaching, so I can be free there. And then we say, oh, teacher, we never considered that possibility. I said, oh, I said, teacher, oh, very nice, we would like to follow. And he really seriously looked into our eyes, and he told us, I will look for you, I will find you, and we will continue learning.
Oh.
And then at that moment, I remember just put there and said, sorry.
So
He
to
really
study
looked into
there
eyes.
I am again.
I will look for you, I will find you, and we will continue learning until we liberate.
Oh.
It's like, imagine, that was his wish. And Seattle Tajania, also I just today I'm gonna cry, man. It's like, we were walking in Hong Kong in the forest, in the mountain, and in the break of our retreat. So he always tells us, let's go walk. And we go to the back door of the monastery, because if you go to the front, many questions and things. So we kind of sneak away from the monastery and we just go, the three of us walking. I don't know what he thought. We were walking in silence, né? We were having kilometers in silence. We were just walking. And we passed, I remember there was a gate, and he turned to us, and says, we see next time, no? We see next one, he said. He is very hard to express often emotions, but to tell you, imagine our friendship, that means our friendship is beyond this life. We see next one, eh? We see next. We continue trying. Man, for that really, for me, for us, both of us, was like, we return in. Imagine to make commitment of a friendship. We see next one. We continue. It's like,
Is
so.
he alive?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's alive. So.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we still
We
have
see next one, eh?
Yes, we see.
Continue as devas, very nice. We continue studying.
there is a
No need
place
for
that
tea,
is
no need
called-
for hunger. We can stay.
No,
There
I
is
would
a
like to
place
try
that
that
is-
pizza.
We can. We
There
can.
is which is the place where the Deva study?
Abhidhamma.
Tudama,
The
in the
Tudama
Tudama
halls.
halls in the Deva realms, there is this place where the Deva studies.
There is a school in Devas apparently, and they go
And
and
the
teachers and
teachers,
yes,
the
the monks who fulfill that, they do a lot of good. They become Deva and they continue teaching there. But Devas have still ears, have eyes, so they can continue flowing, but they have no hunger. So we could finish the whole 9 chapters of Abhidhamma in one sit. That's why the Buddha taught Abhidhamma for the first time to his mother as a Deva.
In Tusita.
And he went to Tusita and taught the Devas in one sitting. And spam are different. There are 31 realities of space, time, and matter happening at the same time together. And don't feel so surprised, because quantum physicists are already talking about 11 dimensions that must exist in order to understand matter. My dear friends, get your belts buckled, because here we go. Already scientists are saying that there are 11 realms, isn't it? So scientists are checking matter. They are investigating the physics, the materiality. You just count how many lower planes we have? 4 plus 1 human, 5 plus the ones that have matter still, 6. How many? 11. Unbelievable. So sometimes I think they might be already looking at the possibilities mathematically. In order for matter to make sense, where it goes, when it leaves, we know that matter, an atom, arises and passes away, but the question is, where does this atom went? Where is it? If it is not here anymore, and they're appearing billions and trillions and quadrillions of times in our bodies right now, are appearing and disappearing. Where is it going? When they make the calculations, they need 11 dimensions for it. That's where it is. When I saw this recently, last year or something, I was like, man, maybe they're already starting to scratch mathematically, theoretically, to the realms that are there for matter to be able to appear. So, not yet there, but amazing, isn't it? So, may we continue working and understanding to be free from suffering in any of them. That's the...
Okay, so, yeah, ready to continue? Okay.
Yes.
Now, Loba Mula Chitta is sometimes, that means that in the Arupa beings, beings without mind, without matter, can also have greed, can also arise. This mind can also arise in them. But let's see, how about dosa? The dosa, you see, is always. So that means that it does not arise in Arupa beings. Yes, now we will see. Okay, now let's see. Moha also, it is also sometimes. Yes, now we go like okay, coming. Okay, now let's go here. For jhana, for beings to arrive to Brahma realm, for jhanas, first the person has to meditate. The being has to meditate, and they have to overcome 5 hindrances. Remember, this we have already seen before. The 5 hindrances are sense, desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse, and doubt. Yes, so these 5 hindrances, 5 obstacles must be overcome in order for a person to arrive to jhana. Therefore, the beings who were reborn into the Rupa realms or the Arupa realms, they live with jhana because it is the result of their practice, and then they were reborn into these realms. And so there, ill will, sense, desire, sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse, and doubt will not arise in them. While they are living the life as a Rupa Brahmin or an Arupa Brahmin. So you see, ill will is actually dosa, yes? So in the 4 non-material planes, Arupa realm, and the 16 fine material planes, Rupa realms, dosa murachita will not arise. So therefore, it is said that dosa can only arise in the sense realm where beings have the heart base, which are the 4 lower planes, the human plane, and the 6 Deva realms. Now, therefore, you see here, dosa mulachita is always with heart base. And greed-rooted chitta, loba mula chitta, and moha mula chitta is possible for the arupa beings that are without material properties. It is possible for them. But as we see that sense desire also is one of the hindrances which is overcome already by the Brahmins. Well, we are saying that overcome here, but it does not mean that it is totally eradicated. So while they are living the life as a Brahmin, sense desire will not, and dosa also will not arise in them. But it does not mean that when they pass away from that Brahmin life and be reborn into the human realms or the Deva realms or even the lower realms, that it will not arise in them. Okay, so now sense desire will not arise in them, but there can also be some other kind of lobha mula citta which is possible. Let's say, for example, although they are not having desire for something beautiful to see, something beautiful to smell, and good taste, good touch, and all these things, but they can also have lobha, or they can also have attachment towards their life. They might think that, this Brahman life is so peaceful, is so calm, and so they can generate attachment to that kind of lifestyle. So in those cases, this lobha mula citta can arise in their mind. And of course, also moha in this case, yes. So therefore, we say sometimes here. And when it arises in sense sphere beings, then it arises with heart base. So therefore, sometimes and always. Okay, so now let's go to see another thing which is also interesting. That some other information we can get from these tables. Now here, if you see this immaterial resultant consciousness, arupa vachara vipaka chittas, neither always nor sometimes, is like a little strike there. It actually means never. That means it never arises based on hadaya watu, based on heart base. Why is that? Because these arupa vachara vipaka chittas are, you remember, these are actually the rebirth consciousness for arupa beings. And these chittas can only arise in the arupa realm. So in the arupa realm, there is no material quality, so no heart base. If there is no heart base, then it will never arise based on the heart. So therefore, here it's actually never. Okay, then one more interesting thing that we're going to see from these tables. Now here, you see this kind of citta, stream entry path consciousness, Sotapatti Magga citta. If you see here, it says always based on heart base. So let's see why is it like that. For a person to get enlightened, we have already seen before that there are 4 stages of enlightenment. Sotapatti, Sakadagami, Anagami, and the last stage, fully enlightened, Arahata. So the first stage is called Sotapatti Magga, Sotapatti here. In English translation, it is called the stream entry, first stage of enlightenment, meaning like once a person arrives to this stage, it's like entering the stream of enlightenment, and surely he will arrive to the sea, and surely he will arrive to arahaship, which is fully enlightened. So the teachers explains that for a person to get enlightened, at least the first stage of enlightenment here, Sotapatti Magga, it is necessary for us to listen to the Buddha or to a noble person, to an arahant, or to some teachers for the explanation of how to practice. If we don't listen or at least read or something, if we don't have information of what to do, how to practice, then it is not possible to arrive to the first stage of enlightenment. So therefore, it is said here that only those persons that have listened or have seen the teachings will be able to get the first stage of enlightenment. Now, for the 4 aggregate beings, that means the beings that does not have material quality, they do not have eyes and do not have ears. So in this case, then they will not be able to see noble ones and to listen to the teachings. So therefore, if a person has not yet enlightened yet, and then they are reborn into those arupa realm, non-material realm, then they will not be able to get enlightened there, because they do not have, they have no way to get instructions. So in Pali, sometimes these places are called unsuitable place, which is called akana. And this only apply to a person who has not yet got gotten at least the first stage of enlightenment. If a person has already got the first stage of enlightenment and he was reborn into the Arupa realm, he already know the way, he already know how to practice. So therefore, for them, there's no problem. They can continue their practice there and get fully enlightened even in the Arupa realm. But for a person who has not got the first stage of enlightenment yet, then it is not such a suitable place for them, because those lifespan of these realms are really, really long. During the lifetime of these beings, there might be even a few Buddha might have arisen and pass away, and even the whole Buddha Sasana, the whole teachings might have already have gone through a few times. But because these beings, they do not have eyes and ears, and they have no opportunity to get in touch with the Buddhas or the teachings, then they will stay long time without being able to get enlightened. So therefore, it is only good to be reborn into this Arupa realm only if a person is at least already in the first stage of, have already accomplished the first stage of enlightenment. So therefore, here you see, for the first stream entry path consciousness, so Sotapatti Magga Citta, it is always based on mind base or heart base, because we need the eye and ear in order to listen to instructions of how to practice. Then the other 7 Magga and Phala Cittas, these Cittas are also possible to arise in the Arupa realm, so therefore sometimes. And so this is also another interesting information which we can get from this table. Now you may say, if you say that beings need to listen or see the Dhamma in order to get enlightened, so how about the Buddha? The Buddha himself, he did not get instructions from anybody. Well, yes, this is actually right, but we have to remember that the Buddha actually only arises in the human realms. So, and in any case, is still based on Hadayavotu, based on the mind base, even for the case of the Buddha. Then for the Buddha, yes, he does not need any instructions, but for other beings, it is necessary. So therefore, it is always here. Okay, so up till here, those are the little points of interesting points that we can see from this table. And then I will send you by notes the full table, so please check to see which kind of citta can arise with based on which kind of base, material base. And if you find something interesting or something that you might feel like why is this like this or like that, then later on we can discuss together. Okay, so up till now in chapter 3, the 6th section, we have analyzed the cittas by way of Vedana, by feeling. And then we have seen Hetu, the roots, the 3 good roots and 3 bad roots, Lobha, Dosa, Moha, Alobha, Adosa, and Amoha. And we have also seen function, Kichat, which are like the rebirth consciousness, rebirth function, seeing function, hearing function, receiving, determinating, and all kinds of these different kinds of functions of each citta we have also seen already. Then we have also seen Dwara, doors, the 6 kind of doors, 5 senses, and the mind door, which is Bhavanga Citta itself. Then we have also seen Aramana, the 5 sense objects, and then mind objects, which are further divided into 6 kinds. And today also we have seen Votu, the 6 bases, 5 senses, and the mind base or heart base. So here we have complete chapter 3. So sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May your noble effort be supportive conditions for the highest happiness and freedom. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So thank you everybody for continuing with this last part of the video. Next week we are going to enter a new chapter, chapter 4, about mental process. So see you next Sunday.